Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Rhino and the Dude.
I'm the Rhino.
And I'm the Dude. And today, of all days,
We're going to break into the darkest, deepest, most disturbing corners of the dude's brain.
I'm
Does
ready.
he suck his thumb at night? We'll find out today. How often does he cry about it? All the time. What are his childhood traumas? As he aggressively asked Julie when she was here. Thanks, Julie. You're the best. We're going to find out.
I am ready for questioning on this special edition of The Rhino and the Dude.
We're riding just a duo. Just you and I.
Just the two of us.
You and I.
We can make it if we try.
Just the two of us.
You and I.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
So-
cut the dramatic music.
I figured it was
It's
good
two idiots in a
Inception.
room.
Good Inception.
It did give the Inception vibes.
Inception
for sure.
vibes.
Yeah,
It
it
was
did.
good.
You're 100% right about that one.
Give us a like for the Inception. Comment below. Is it Inception vibes? And before we get going, this episode is brought to you by the Podcast Lab. If you're looking to record a podcast, do it right here by giving me a call. And you can also give me a call if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Let the dude fight for you by calling 410-588-6536.
Yeah, call it the dude.
So now that
After this
I
episode, they might not want to call you, though.
now that I plugged my business, let's give the people some sympathy on why they should use me.
Yeah.
So go ahead. First question,
Yeah.
please.
Well, let's start hard like you do with Julie. Tell us about your childhood traumas.
I had a nice childhood.
You did.
You asked me.
I guess.
You tell me, Eric.
Well, no, tell me about, like, what was your, like, things that you were really into as a kid?
I
Like, growing up. Did you just play with sticks? I feel like you're a
Yes.
stick kid. You, like, just pick up a stick and you'd be like, yeah, I'm cool.
play with a stick, shovel. Having shovels were a big thing.
Shovels
you know,
are
once you get a big shovel, a nice shovel, it's a
Game
nice
changer.
thing, a game changer. You know, especially if you get like that army shovel that
Ooh, with
breaks down.
Yes,
It's like
the
this
foldable
big,
one.
the foldable one. It's got the little pick, and then it's got the saw. And you could saw on the wood when you hit like the roots and all. That was a big deal.
Big thing.
I raced bicycles.
You were big into that. Talk about that.
Yeah, I wanted to do motocross, and there was a BMX place, and I was taken there, and I remember at first we went around like the backside, and we could only see the people coming around. We couldn't see if they were on bikes or what they were on, but we saw like people speeding by. My mom was like, "They must be on motorcycles. They're going way too fast." And sure enough, it was bicycles. And it was bicycle motocross, BMX bike racing, and did that. And it kind of gave me a little bit of work ethic, I'd say. We drove around. I think I was 4-time national champion, which just means I won my. That sounds great. So I should just say, oh, I was
stop
4-time national champion. No, I'm 2-time national champion, 4-time state champion. Yeah, and I could I like to downplay those accomplishments because they don't seem that big. But okay,
Why is the national champion not a big deal, though?
because
Was it like you and like 3 other kids?
no, it definitely wasn't that. So it is your age group and then your rank essentially. So essentially, it'd be like it's equivalent to winning
Novice.
blue belt. No, like blue belt Pan Ams or something, or blue belt New York Open or something like that. But if somebody wins the New York Open, it's a good thing. So I wasn't. I think I downplay it because at the time it wasn't the expert rank. I was one below that. So I'm like, well, I probably should have been an expert, and I wouldn't have won.
Yeah.
But it was when I won. I know the last one I won, there was qualifiers. So there were semifinals. So that means there's only 8 kids that fit in a gate on the bike. So they have qualifying rounds to where you have to place a certain place to get into the finals. I know that one there was enough kids, so it was probably like out of 20 kids in the whole thing. to where they had to narrow it down to 8 because there was a semifinal. So I had to you have to qualify first for the semifinals. They eliminate people from the regular. You get qualified for the semifinals, and
then you get in
then
the finals.
and then you get in the finals. When I went to Tulsa, Oklahoma for the Grand Nationals, which would have been the biggest accomplishment you can achieve, I lost. I got 5th in the semifinals, but there's 8 in the gate, so you have to get 4. So I was 1 away from making it into the main when I went to the Grand Nationals.
You disgust me.
Yeah,
Get out.
So
That's still pretty cool.
yeah, and then some like the state champion, like yeah, there was a lot that I guess that goes into it. No, I mean ultimately you won a race, but the thing also was there was nobody that was above the class of mine, in the expert class at the time when I won it in my age group. So if it would have went to that class, but there was nobody there,
Just
so
you
then
by
it
yourself.
then it came down. It wasn't me by myself, but I won
okay.
out of that. But there was no like experts at whatever that age group was. But then I won it also. I won it in cruiser, there is no expert. It's just kind of like an open division. So I won it in that, but it's also age division. So there might have only been 1 or 2 kids in the age division that's doing cruiser because a lot of kids didn't do cruiser. Okay. So there's 2 different bikes. There's a 20-inch bike and then there's a 20-inch tire. Then there's a 24-inch tire. So I won it in both. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Then what did you go to after you stopped biking? Like after you stopped BMX, where'd you go next?
Doing hood rat things with my friends.
I just wanted you to be like, drugs.
Doing hood rat things with my friends.
I want to do hood rat things with my friends. What was it? Was that when the donkey dude started?
The donkey dude started actually. That was high school. So I was already kind of in martial arts by then. But really for that I just wanted to do movies. I wanted to make movies. And I saw the easiest way to do that was to make like a Jackass style movie. And I had some dummies around me. I'm like, hey man, you want to do this? And they're like, yeah, let's do it. And we did 2 of them. And at first, I feel like I carried a lot of the weight. And like I was like, all right, I'll do it just to get the good footage.
Yeah.
And then the second time, there was a group of kids that were like, oh, that's so cool that you did that one. I want to be in the next one. So I didn't have to do hardly anything in the second one.
Do you think that's how that really was for like Bam Margera and them? Where they didn't have to do like no, that was Steve Knoxville. Johnny Knoxville. It's not Steve
I don't know because that guy.
They do some crazy stuff.
Yeah, they did some crazy stuff.
Yeah. They still do. The newer ones are still kind of crazy.
I have no interest in watching it anymore.
I saw one where they were dropping, it was like pool balls. Like they were testing like a cup, and they were dropping like pool balls off the roof of this building, and they lined it up so it should drop right in the cup in this guy's leg, and Johnny Knoxville's leg, and it was like missed, hit the thigh, hit the thigh. Like I was like, oh, and like
we didn't
he was
do
like
too much. That was I think that we were more pranks focused than.
Well, didn't you have your one friend fight Steve?
We did. So there was some things like that, but I'd say that I don't know. I'd say that we were more pranks focused, but yeah, we did have Ian fought Steve, and it was horrible. Like he quit after getting hit once. I mean, you can say he got knocked out, but he got hit and fell down, and he's like, "I'm done." So it was kind of pathetic. Then we did have like 2 of the other guys had problems with each other. I think it was over some type of
there's another fight in there too, and it was like 2 random guys.
Yeah,
and it started with an argument.
I think it was a dispute over their herbs.
Their herbs.
Yeah, something of that sort, and they both happened to be in the same group of neighborhood kids that were involved with this, and it was like, oh. You don't like him? Okay, you guys can settle it.
You don't like him? He don't
Let's
like
settle
you.
it, and I got a video camera.
No.
So.
And didn't one of the guys like break his nose or something?
That guy did. Yeah, that guy did. Okay. His nose was already broken, but he just hit it and broke it again. That was a good shot though. He did like this long hook, right hand, and you see his head flash back, and he had the that 70s show style hair, and it flew up and he fell back.
It's always the best with people with long hair because like their hair like goes flying. Yeah, it makes them way more exaggerated.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you did donkey dudes, and then when you started training martial arts before that.
Yeah. Started training martial arts. I started in Aikido, and I thought that Aikido was going to be the end all be all. And I got involved with doing mixed martial arts, and I thought that I was going to be the hoist Gracie for Aikido and show everybody how to
Great Aikido.
wrist lock. And
Wrist lock.
you know, but I was smart about it. I wasn't like one of these guys that I was decently smart about it. I wasn't one of these guys that was gonna, come into the gym and say, I do this martial art, I do kung fu, or whatever. I'll take anybody in here. I never did anything like that. I knew that there were other things I didn't know about, so I'm like, let me go and train them a little bit, so that way I know what it is and know how to defend it. But ultimately, my focus is to show Aikido. But
How much Aikido did you show?
nothing.
So you showed Aikido nothing. Aikido.
Nothing really. Nothing really. Nothing really at all. In the sense of, I realized I'm like, this stuff is not going to work. And then I was like, all right, well, I was training this stuff. Let me just do this instead. So then the Aikido was like, trash. But I'd say that it helped me with breathing.
Okay.
Focusing on breath. It's big on that, and body awareness, I think. So I think that it helps in the sense of that, and staying focusing on your when your first martial arts is so much focusing on your breathing. I think that it can help you have a cardio edge when you get into fighting, because you remember, oh, breathe everything. Because everything I Aikido, they yell at you, you're not breathing. That doesn't happen as much with some of your other martial arts that are embodied by mixed martial arts. You don't get yelled at as much for not breathing, and I think it's natural to hold your breath. So I think that it was, if anything, was a good base for that. But besides that, I haven't really had much of a.
Yeah.
I haven't been like, oh, I took this from Aikido.
This is from my Aikido days.
I mean, I think I could I might be able
Wrist
to
lock.
beat you in like a sword fight or something like that, like cut you in half or something. But
Not after that swing.
what's that?
Cut you in half.
Well, that's like straight down, cut you right through the middle with the samurai sword. Okay. But you ever think about that, man? Like people that train all these swords and everything, it's like you're training something that what is the chance that you ever, like, if you killed somebody with okay, outside of the opportunity that somebody broke into your house and you pulled out your samurai sword and you cut them up, you're never going to use that. And even in the sense of that, if somebody came in here right now and have a samurai sword, it's not a very good weapon, because it's this long, and yeah, exactly. It's this long or longer, and how am I going to, I'm going to hit the wall. I'm stuck on a 2x4. I'm like,
The guy opens the door and starts swinging it from like the other side of the doorway, gets stuck on the doorway, so he can't enter the room.
We should just make a movie like that. It's like, it's like, shoot.
I will say though, swords are cool.
Yeah, they're cool.
Have you seen those parody videos of the guys? It's like the jiu-jitsu guys waiting for someone to break into his house.
Oh yeah, where he
the guy comes to the door. He's like, "Oh, this is how it's gonna be." And like sits down. He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Get in my guard." And he's like coming out. I'm like,
yeah,
butt scooting out.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the guy who owns a sword. He's like, "Let me grab my blade." Like turns and like runs away and like walks back in the room. The guy's got like a gun. He's like, shit.
And it's all cool and all, and I think that we should preserve. I
Definitely.
think we
older martial arts things.
Things should be preserved, and there's a place for that. But it's also very culty when you think about it in the same sense.
I think in certain aspects of a lot of things, I think can turn culty, depending on who's running it and how it's being like.
Yeah, but how do you really get all into training Japanese martial arts or Korean, whatever one you want, whatever one you like? Mm-hmm. How do you get into that much and be so into the swords and everything and dedicate so much of your life to? Well, I mean, I guess I don't know. Maybe we look at martial arts in the sense of, okay, if it comes down to it, I can use this to defend myself. I guess everything else, like if you're playing disc golf, you're not thinking that you're just doing it because it's fun. But I just think of it in the sense of, I'm spending this time in a martial art, I might as well do something that's actually effective. But
Okay.
even in jiu-jitsu, we do the same thing because you're not going to invert. You're not going to go for leg locks. You're not going to do this. I'm going to take somebody down. I'm going to, or if I can, I might not take them down depending on how many people. If it's me against them, I'm just going to take them down and mount them and just hit them with a couple elbows or choke them out, whatever the case may be. I'm not going to do this crazy stuff, but I'm doing that stuff in the gym
Yeah.
a lot of cases. So after a certain while, I guess it's like, okay, I know how to do that. I've drilled that a million times. I can do that if I wanted to, but there's other things that are in the sport. But I just don't. I just think it's crazy how much of somebody's identity traditional martial arts can become, even mixed martial arts. But how much
Hey,
it can become.
I think it's like anything you do.
Of
Like, not
course.
just martial arts, not just like that. If I'm really into drawing, but also talking about martial arts, you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Except for these
like-
guys never will get the opportunity to die by the sword.
You never know,
I'm
man.
sure they.
There might be some weird cult stuff happening somewhere that we don't know about, like the samurai cult of Tennessee.
Well, let me
If there
tell
is a
you.
samurai cult in Tennessee,
Don't
don't come
for
after
me.
me. Just don't do it. Just, sorry.
My name's Billy Joe, and I'm a samurai.
Kimosabe. Like, case over the doors, like,
Wasabi.
Domo!
Oh gosh, but yeah, I don't know. My father, I remember the traditional martial arts place that we trained. I think that they had like some financial issues or something. And my father was like, "I bet you what's gonna happen is that place is gonna go up, and he's gonna end up committing Harry Carry right there on the mats because he like wants to be a." This guy was Irish. He wanted to be a samurai so bad, and he would talk. He wanted you to respect him as people would respect the samurai in feudal Japan because he had the knowledge of these martial arts. Like that's how everything is. Like, if we were in Japan right now, you would get your head chopped off for that. I'm like, well, we're not in Japan. We're in America where there is basic human decency now, and we believe in human rights here and natural law. So take your ass back to Japan and tell them back then, let's put you in a time machine, let's take you back there, and you can roll up with your little samurai. So be like, I'm a samurai too. And they'd be like, get out of here, white boy. Cut your head off. You know?
Yeah. Do you think, like, people like that, do you think it's like more of like a control thing?
I think so. I think that
I feel like even with anything you do, again, just like you make your identity around the stuff you do, no matter what it is, I feel like you always find that person, no matter what type of group you start joining. If you get deep enough into like the collective people, you always find someone who's like has to be the best, and like doesn't really do anything to like prove that they're the best, but they just like assume that they should be treated like they're the best.
Yeah.
Like, those people are always weird to me.
Yeah. It makes you think back. It's like, what was their experience like in high school?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, do you think it's like
they had to,
that kid who got bullied in middle school, and then now it's like
he trained
to be a
this
god.
martial
Yeah.
art that doesn't actually have any contact or
he was
anything
getting
like
bullied
that.
in middle school, watched some Samurai Jack, and was like, "That's me,"
Yeah.
and just dove straight into the samurai culture.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing.
I just like anywhere you find that guy.
Yeah.
Like, you go to Subway and there's that guy in there. He's like, "I make the best foot-long sub you'll ever eat." And you're like, "Cool, dude. I just want my sandwich." He's like, "You don't want me to make it?" I'm like, "No, the guy working here is like perfectly fine."
The weird guy at the sushi place.
Oh yeah, that waiter.
Yeah, don't say too much because he might be watching.
Oh,
But you know what I'm talking
you and the
about.
waiter there are good friends.
We're not good friends. What are you talking about? He's just a weird guy. He just seems like somebody like that would white guy, but like I feel like he's somebody that would.
I'm a sushi expert.
Yes.
So I work here.
Yeah.
He probably takes girls on dates there and is like, "This is the best sushi spot in all of Maryland." Girls like,
Run it.
"In Bel Air?"
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of weird. But anyway,
Well, yep. Sorry, we went on a little tangent. Now let's talk about. So now I know I met your dad. I met your mom. I've met your one sister. I've never met the other sister.
which one have you met?
The one who yelled at me.
Oh, yeah, the one that said that she was going to cut your member off.
Yeah, she told me she was gonna cut my member off, which like I just laughed. I just laughed at something she said,
Yes.
and she told me she was gonna cut my member off. And also, you had a 2-door Honda Civic, or no,
It
Accord.
was an Accord, sir.
And
It's
I
classy.
am a large man, and your sister is probably like 5'1",
She is 4'11", sir.
4'11", and she made me get in the back seat, and I'm like this. Hold on, just here. Trying to
Horrible
fit.
day. Horrible day.
I could not fit in that.
Where
car.
did we go to the fights or something?
No, we just drove like
Where did
we
why
went to
would-
pick something up, and then we dropped her off at a friend's house. We didn't like leave like the area we lived in at the
What
time.
was it?
We didn't
Why?
go far.
What did we do that night? I'm trying to.
We
I
were-
remember that day, but I'm trying to remember what we did.
We met up. I think we were either gonna go watch
Watching
the
a fight?
fights, or we were doing them. We were just like, you called me and asked me to come.
I dropped. Okay, I know where I dropped her. Okay, gotcha.
Dropped her off.
I think we watched
There's
some
a
fights.
house somewhere.
Yeah, we went to Philadelphia and. Yeah.
I remember the house
she
very
had some-
vividly. She was
some
like
drinks.
sitting on the porch,
Yeah. Okay.
like very vividly mad, but I didn't understand why she was mad.
I don't know. I don't know.
That was a.
She
You threw me in this
watches.
weird situation. She was not happy with me, and I was like, I didn't know that you were even here or you were mad.
You're in the comments right now, my sister. Please
Sorry.
comment and apologize to the Rhino because you threatened to cut his member off.
Please, I need that to go to the bathroom.
She said that she likes the show.
Oh, did she listen to it? That's cool.
She didn't mention your member though. So
I understand. It's not very rememberable.
jokes on
Oh,
you.
jokes to myself. Oh, that hurt. that hurt me deep down. So there's that sister. What does the other sister do?
She has a childcare business.
Oh, that's cool. Where's that around? You don't need docs actually.
I don't need to dox it, especially being associated with me.
Yeah, like weird guys.
I mean, I'm sure you can figure
Weird
it out.
guys, but who also buy, sell, and invest in real estate.
If you're looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate, let the dude fight for you.
And also with the podcast lab
Yep,
right here. If you want to start a show,
Towson, Maryland.
best place on earth. But that you have the other sister, and you don't have any other. You're only the two sisters and you, right?
As far as I know, you know my
Yeah,
dad though.
Your dad's a wild card, so maybe there might be another one running around
Might be
somewhere.
a couple.
Then your mom's really nice. I've met your mom a couple times. She's always been really cool.
Oh yeah, my mom's cool.
Super lately. And then your dad is the definition of a wild card.
Wild card.
Wild card.
Yeah, definitely wild card.
Well, give me your favorite story of your dad so that people understand the definition of a wild card.
I don't have a favorite story. I don't have a favorite story, man. You gotta tell me your favorite story.
I only have 2 stories with your dad. And one was the one time I came to your house.
It's one story that just sticks out. My dad has a favorite shovel. Had a favorite shovel.
Just like the one you had when you were a kid that cut the...
No,
roots and
so
stuff.
he had a shovel because he's short, just like my sister. And he had worked the handle of this shovel down, I guess, from just using the shovel, like the handle, like
Yeah, soon later it breaks down.
so it was the right size, and the shovel was like from so much wear and tear, it was just the perfect shovel. So anyway, somehow this shovel had found itself into this pile of brush. I don't know how. So it found itself in this pile of brush which was to be burnt, which was burnt.
I don't know why. I feel like your dad afterwards had like a funeral for the shovel. Like,
No. We had everybody over and friends and
Yeah.
everything. How am I gonna know if there's this huge pile? I think that we removed some brush and all this stuff, and we just burnt all this thing. It needed to be burnt. It was filling up the backyard, so we burnt all the brush and all. Big bonfire, and the shovel was in the brush. So this is, 1 o'clock in the morning, whatever. We're all in the kitchen. He comes in, and he had like a towel or something, and drops on the floor this something that's burning or like smoking.
Smoking still.
It was the
shovel.
shovel.
Wait, what did he say though when he brought it in? Just
You burned my damn shovel. Who the hell burned my shovel?
This turned into like the game of Clue, and it was Eddie in the brush pile with the shovel.
No, it just stood out to me, and like we've had a couple bonfires over the past year, and every time I just think of this time because we're just sitting there having a conversation, we just hear ding, and I'm like, "What the heck? You brought a piece of burning firewood?" And he's looking, and he's so pissed off. He's like, "It's my freaking shovel,
The shovel.
and I'm like. How is that? Why was the shovel in there? I don't know. somehow the shovel had gotten in there. I don't know if somebody was using that shovel in a previous fire to like move around embers and then left it there, and then wood got piled on top of it. But anyway, his shovel got burnt, and he found it. I guess I don't know how long it was burning for, but I guess he was sitting out there by the fire, and he's like, "That looks like my shovel.
Is that my shovel?" Jumps in the. I don't know why. I can just see your dad, like the fire's still burning. He just like reaches his hand there and pulls out the shovel. Like it's still on fire. He's like, "Who did this?" Like a movie scene. Like drops to his knees. Like, no. Like super dramatic.
They drew first blood.
Like black eye makeup.
He takes the coal from.
No, he takes the ashes from the shovel itself. And then like does a whole Rambo parody with you.
Breaking news: Jarrettsville man slaughters whole family with burnt shovel.
Over shovel.
With the burnt shovel.
His only statement was
because
it
drew
was first blood.
Because it was hot, he took like a rock to it and just started sharpening it, and then he came in. Yeah. See where my imagination goes.
Yeah, your dad turned into Rambo. I like it.
Rambo cutting our heads off with a sharpened shovel because it was burnt, red hot in the embers.
That's funny. I never knew that about the story. That's a good one.
Yeah, because you're not expecting it. You're sitting here having a conversation, and who the heck would bring that into their own house? But you're sitting here having a conversation, and I don't know where you're just on the floor. I'm like, what the heck? Who burnt my shovel? What? What are you talking about?
Oh, the burnt shovel podcast. I love it.
He wants to come on the show. He's like, have me on the podcast.
It would be an interesting episode.
I don't know if I could handle it. It might have to be him. He could be a stand-in for me.
Like you're just sitting back.
I'm not here. I'm not here.
You just leave.
I'm not here.
I'll do when
I'm on vacation. I'll give you
everything. We'll come in here. Me and your dad, and we'll just run an episode.
He'll be the whole thing.
We'll just replace
just be like the dude, doodle,
the doodle, Terry Doodle. That's still one of my favorite things you've ever done.
All right, well, you're my dad's favorite story. If you haven't even told the
my favorite story, your dad. Yes. I've only got like 3, and there was the Buffalo Wild Wings one.
Yes.
I've only been around your dad, and really the story that I normally tell about your dad and remember, I didn't even talk to your dad.
Oh,
like that day.
Yes, that's been told on the podcast, right?
I don't think it has yet.
Has it?
I don't think it has. But so because I met with Buffalo Wild Wings one time that we were at when Daryl was in town, we were at the Dave & Buster's for the fights.
Yes.
And those were like the 2 times I really hung out with them.
Mm-hmm.
But the Dave & Buster's story is kind of funny. So your dad brings a dog with him where he goes. He has his dog with him.
Yes.
The service animal. Well, I get to Dave & Buster's later than you, Daryl, your dad, and his dog. So there's 4 chairs around the table. Each one of them have a chair. I walk with my girlfriend. I get her a chair. And I thought that his dad would move the dog so I could sit down. But he didn't.
Did he tell you straight up no?
I didn't even ask.
And to this day, I didn't know that happened. I apologize because I would make that get the damn dog off the chair.
I was like standing there the whole time. I'm like, whatever. It's a dog. It wasn't a big deal at all. I just think that's funny.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So moving past the stories of my father before he comes and decapitates me with
he still has the shovel. He still has it.
He's been sharpening it for the past 10 years.
He's like, they drew first blood.
It's a
knife now. It's literally just shaved to a knife. Yeah,
it's a knife.
It's a knife that has like the shovel is kind of like goes like that, and like hooks at the end
handle.
And out. Yeah, it's just that.
It's the handle of the shovel that's like into this like curved knife.
Exactly.
And he's been sharpening it for this moment. He's gonna
like,
come here.
That when me and him do our episode by ourselves,
he's not even gonna cut your neck. He's just gonna. I just envision him just cutting you straight down. No, he's just gonna slice you. He's gonna slice you like down like this, and then it's gonna show your organs. He's like pull your intestines out. Like, see this?
The fans want to see what you're made of.
Let's see, fans. He's made of a bunch of bull.
Why is your dad turning like a mad scientist or like a witch when you're using that voice?
I don't know. Maybe he is.
Okay. So, also, we had a lot of fun when I was in college because you'd come and visit me all the time.
Yes.
What was your favorite story about doing that? Because we did a lot of fun stuff down there.
The time that Shelton came, we've told that on the podcast.
Yeah, when Shelton's here. Were you guys scared of my roommate?
Yeah,
he thought I was, like, in
we've
legitimate
told
danger.
these stories though. We told the story about me in the Russian accent.
Yeah, the Russian accent dancing.
and we've told all the stories, I believe.
Yeah, I feel like most of them, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think that all these stories have been told. Yeah,
Now,
I
go.
what's that?
No, go.
I don't have none.
You start off. Well, now I'm just going to ask you a bunch of random questions. And
Ask me a
you're
bunch
just
of
gonna
random
give
questions.
Okay. Hot dogs or hamburgers?
Hamburgers.
Ooh. Okay.
Who would choose hot dogs as an adult?
There's weird people just like hot dogs. People are weird, dude.
I mean, I don't mind a
They
hot
exist
dog,
for a reason.
but like, I mean, I feel like they're for kids or for poor people.
So they're for children and peasants. The Holy King.
No, but I'm
Dude,
just saying, like,
doodle.
if when I was broke, if I can get a pack of hot dogs for a couple bucks
couple
and I
bucks.
can eat all day. But I'm saying,
You have
I mean, I do still like a good like beef hot dog, burnt on the grill, with jelly beans raw.
raw. And served with your finest milk and jelly beans raw.
But yeah, I mean, hamburgers all the way.
Okay. We're not other questions. Oh, we never got to talk to you about your van life experience. You did
Okay.
van life before it was cool.
Is it cool now?
I see a lot of Instagram and like Instagram reels. There's so many like people live in vans now.
And they're not doing it right.
No,
They got all these
they're nice renovated,
vans,
yeah, they buy these nice
renovated
ones.
They ain't out here.
So
roughing
Eddie
it.
bought
Y'all
the van
fake.
that your mom would have in like 1992.
No, that you would have for your family to go on road trips to see your cousin Larry. You know,
Go see Larry.
the one that they said.
I remember we had the same van when I was
Don't go
like
down the
same type of
basement.
looking van when I was a kid, and it had like the TV built, like a TV with a
It had
VCR
that.
built in.
The
Like
TV was up top.
Yeah.
At first, I had that. The up top, it's a conversion bit. Up top, you had the TV and it had all the wood and everything. We took a lot of it out when we, renovated. When we did our renovation, which wasn't like this, what you see on TV or what you see on Instagram anyway.
Nah.
But yeah, they had that TV, and I contemplated keeping it, but it was such a big thing. So I used that top space. It was storage, and then I had another little storage place across. But yeah, I mean, we set out and stayed in the van for a good while.
Well, you went down with
So I went down with Jamal.
was gonna say
Jamal
cool.
Johnson, me and him. The goal was we were going to. I actually saw him yesterday, but just randomly. We were going to stop at a different gym every day and train at the gym and then see sites. So we travel the country, train
Yeah.
somewhere, travel, train, travel, train. So just keep driving. Where can we get to next? Oh, well, this is only an hour away. This is only 2 hours a day. Let's hop in the car, drive there, find a gym, train there, check out the city, whatever. The way we had it set, I had the van set up like across the back. There was a bed across the back, and then there was one this way. So it was like an L-shaped type thing. So I put 1, 2, and a month in, if even that, probably like 3 weeks in, he's like, I'm going back to Maryland. The goal was like 3 months. We were going to go down to Florida tip, come up the other side, then go out to Louisiana. And then at that point, we were going to see what we could do, how our finances worked. We were looking at maybe like we could stop in like temp agencies. If both of us worked for like a week somewhere, we could stash up enough money between the both of us if we got a job at a temp agency at a warehouse or something.
Yeah.
And then keep going. But we never had to do that or anything, because he bailed out after 3 weeks. So the money I had in reserves, for the trip, I paid him out, bought the van from him, and I got a job in Florida, teaching at a gym, teaching kickboxing, cardio kickboxing, and boxing private lessons and all, at this gym down there, and I hung out there for another like 3 months and everybody's like, well, why'd you come back? I'm like, well, it gets kind of hot in Florida in the van. Now I could have figured other things out, but I wasn't worried about anything else but the adventure. So once it got hot, I was like, okay, this is the time to move on. So I was down there for the winter, and yeah, I'm sure they were mad when I came back, but I apologize. I see these things now, but didn't see them then. I was just like, oh. I was born a rambling man, trying to make a living and doing the best I can. When it's time, I told him, when it's
Leave.
time for leaving, I hope you understand that I was born a rambling man. Shout out to Swayze. I know he loves that song.
There you go. Now, what was your best experience down in Florida during that time? Like, what was the coolest thing you did?
Just the whole experience in itself. I mean, just the whole experience in itself. I mean, I'd be at the gym. I'd be at the gym, teach at the gym. There was a black belt that came in the gym and would teach some classes, so I'd be there. I got real involved with the church there, so I'd be at the church multiple times a week, and then I'd be at the beach. So it was just kind of boom, 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 very peaceful. Those things I could have took advantage of better training when I was there, but I really didn't. Something I'm like, man, I should have, because one of the Planet Fitnesses that I slept in the parking lot of, or actually one of the laundromats that I went to every so often until I found my laundromat that I went to. My laundromat.
Mine.
It was just cheaper. That one was right near Wagner Roach's gym. So Wagner
Yeah.
Roach is a beast, and a lot of people train with Wagner Roach, and everyone's like, "Oh, Wagner Roach, Wagner Roach." It wasn't my agenda at that time.
Yeah.
I like the area there, Pembroke Pines, Florida, Hollywood, Florida area. So maybe one day I'll get a little condo or something down there, and I'll definitely be trying to get on the mats over there at Wagner Roaches if I could. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. But didn't do it then.
No. That's kind of
Could have
crazy.
came back and been a beast in 3 months.
3 months.
I don't know. It probably would help me out. It probably
Yeah.
would.
Probably wouldn't have hurt you.
I mean,
Unless you went down there and just like got hurt your first day in class and like couldn't train for the rest of the time.
yeah. I mean, I feel like, I don't know. Did you see it? What was different when I came back from Florida?
People stopped asking me where you were. I feel like all the time people would be like, "Where's Eddie?" I'd be like, "I don't know." I'd be like, "Somewhere in Florida." And they'd be like, "Okay." I'm like, "Somewhere in a van." Because everyone just expected me to know
Were
where you
people
were.
just like, what do you mean in it? What do you mean?
I would just be like,
Who was asking you this?
just random people in the gym, even like just people that I didn't even talk to that often. They just ask.
Why were you the
I don't know.
question
Why-
board?
I don't know. I guess I was your. I'm your parent. I was taking care of you. Parenthood's rough, dude. Look what it's done to me.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a question like in a van. Like there was.
There's people said it. I'm like, yeah, he built like a little bed and like a little table in his van. And
They're like, is
Yeah.
he okay? Like, is he?
there's people who are like, did something happen? I'm like, I don't think so. I'm like, I just think he just wanted to go and like adventure. So he did. Which
Pretty
also,
awesome.
when you came back, you were still in the van when you came back for a little while too, but like in Maryland.
Yeah.
And you remember, I went to the comic book store in town right there, and I found your van outside. So I walked over and started banging on the door.
Yes.
And you open the door, you're like, "What's up? I'm making chicken." And like we had random like Tuesday or Wednesday. We were in your van in the parking lot, just eating chicken and rice out of styrofoam cups. That chicken was good. That turned out
I know
really
how
good.
to make some good van chicken.
Some good van chicken. What'd you cook that in? What were you using to cook?
A Road Pro, great. I would suggest buying one, even though I don't own one anymore. But it is a good buy, especially if you spend time on the road.
On the Road Pro.
It plugs into a cigarette lighter, boom, 12-volt, and about the size of a lunchbox, a little smaller, boom, 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 something like that. And it heats up. So I'd cook rice in it, I'd cook whatever in it. So, excuse me.
Dude, you're nasty.
I know. So, yeah, you put food in it and it'll heat up, and it can. I've seen videos where people even cook like raw chicken in it. I didn't never do that. So most of the time I just lived off of rotisserie chicken.
Yeah.
And I would get rotisserie chicken, or I'd get like pre-cooked fajita mix
Yeah, like the
things, and I would put that in with some rice, and I would get different cans. I think probably what we had was chili. We probably because one of my favorite things to do. I'd take the chili. I get like Amy's chili, and in the can, and get like a hot chili. What is that?
Timer.
Has it been an hour?
It's been 45 minutes.
We're probably
It's a 10-minute timer.
let's just keep on going, man. Let's just keep on going.
Keeping us in order.
Yeah, but screw it. It's just us. Maybe we could do our longest episode yet.
Yeah, we're going to do a 6-hour podcast
Let's do a 6-hour
on
podcast.
Eddie's time in the van cooking
Let's just keep it going until we feel like
I stopped the timer.
All right. So anyway, I would take rotisserie chicken. Pull some of that off. Take some chili in a can. Boom. Put some rice in it too. So you got chicken, rice. I think sometimes every once in a while we get some cheese and throw that in there too. Ooh. And then some hot sauce. That's probably what we ate.
Maybe. I don't remember. I just remember us eating styrofoam cups in a van in the middle of the parking lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was how we did it. But if you drive and like if you have a long distance that you drive, why not? Get one of those. I would say if you do like meal prep, just get the ones with the metal bottom. If you can get those at like a food, warehouse store thing where you can go and get stuff cheap. If you can get the one with the metal bottom, you could just plop it right in there and it would heat up the food. If you're driving, instead of like eating out and getting all the extra sodium and calories and sugars and whatever else you're gonna get, and plus spending the money. So, yeah. So that was that.
Nice. Now, you went from competing, fighting, and then just jumped into real estate. Tell us about that. What was that time like?
Hard. So I was So I came back from being in a van, and I was in a. I came back from being in a van, and then that's when I decided I was gonna fight, right? Or a fight again. Because I already had fights.
Yeah.
But I was gonna fight again, and I had some marginal success, I guess I'd say. I like fought one, won a belt, and all. So I was towards the end of that amateur career, at least the way I saw it. And I fought somebody who was pretty good and lost a decision. And while all this is going on, my family kind of went to crap, in the sense of my niece, who was 14 years old at the time. My sister had some, I'm trying not to, I don't want to dox too much and information and all, but yeah, like, my sister had some things going on and stepped away for a period of time, and was not in a place where it was, good for my niece to come. And every situation turned into that, so her husband, that became not the best situation out of the trauma, the drama that had unfolded, made that household probably not the best place either. My mother's house, with my stepfather, who had but didn't have cancer.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Faked to have cancer.
Faked cancer.
That wasn't the best situation either. My father wasn't the best situation either. So before this, I never really pursued a whole lot of money. I mean, I did because I had my ventures, but I never really got anything off the ground, was never able to do anything. I didn't have this support, because I always had people say to me, like, well, don't you have somebody in your family that can give you a couple $1,000, kind of get it going? I'm like, what are you talking about? Nobody's going to give me anything. You know what I mean? They're just like, I sleep on, here and there, especially at that point in time. I was with my mom. I was back with my mom for a period of time, and that period of time I was back with my dad, because my mom had stuff going on with her house, and that was my dad. My dad didn't really want me there, and that was uncomfortable. So it was always kind of just like passing off. I'm like, all right, go over here. This person's having issues. This person's depressed. This person's having alcohol issues, whatever. Let's send Eddie over there, because he'll, be able to keep an eye on him, and he needs a place to stay. So you end up getting thrown in all these positions.
Yeah, you're throwing these bad.
But when
bad
you're trying,
situations.
but when you're trying to pursue fighting or whatever it is, that's not something that's going
Pursuing
to pay you
something high
right
level.
now. You're like, okay, this is just kind of comes to the territory. I got to live with this or that, or somebody, when I come in, tell me that I'm a piece of crap or whatever the case may be. So I'm used to that. I'm like, it's just part of it, But when I'm pursuing this fighting thing, which isn't going to pay me, from what I understood then for a little while, what I understand now, a long while, uh, when I see that and I'm waiting on that to pay off, and then my niece is being put through the ringer and having to experience some of the same situations that I've experienced, I kind of take a look at myself and I'm like, well, if you weren't out here pursuing fighting and trying to be this fighter and all, maybe you would be a normal adult and have an apartment to where you can say to your 14-year-old niece, hey, I know that everybody else is crazy. You have a safe place to come here. You can, we'll you can have my bedroom. I'll sleep on the couch or
Or even
whatever
she
the
can have a
case may be.
couch.
You can have the couch, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, I give her the bedroom.
Yeah.
For
Well,
the time being,
period.
whatever. Just a safe place
Another
that's
option.
that's nothing crazy is going to happen. And as you kind of look at yourself as a man and you go, I can't. I'm grown. There's people that have this and I don't because I'm out here chasing this fight stuff. And that's all good and well until it affects others around you negatively. You're willing to deal with the negative consequences, but once it starts affecting other people negatively that you care and love, then it changes. So like I said, I lost that one fight decision and all, and I was, obviously it's like, okay, well, we're not quite ready to go pro and all, but I'm seeing all that, and this is kind of mounting up and all. So like, oh, we want you to take this one fight, this guy, and I'm like, okay, I really don't want to because in my head I'm like, I'm the door's closing on the pro fighting thing because I'm like, this has to work out or not. So I know that it's not the right window, and I know it's not the right window, but in my head at the moment it was like, let's just take a run at it, and if it happens, it happens. I can do my good interviews. Yeah, if I can fight a couple bums and pros, and maybe get win 3 fights, and this guy can talk good. Let's have him on the Ultimate Fighter. Whatever the case may be, I don't know. Is it unrealistic in thinking now? Yes, but when you're in the heat of the moment, like you're just trying for anything.
Yeah.
And crazier things have happened.
Yeah.
So we look at guys that say all these things that I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and it's like, yeah, you're crazy. But when you're really in the moment, like, what are my options at this point?
Yeah.
So it ended up that yeah, okay, we want you to take this one more fight. I had no interest in taking this fight. And I'm like, okay, I just got to go out here. I got to win this one. I'm like, okay, after this, can we get closer down the line to this? And they're like, yeah, we'll see after this one. So the fight comes around. I have no interest in this fight, man. And I I just remember walking out to the fight. I'm like, man, this stuff's really happening. And I have no interest at all. Like, there ain't no getting out of this now. I really don't want to be here. So I won the first round, for sure. I remember touching the guy. He tried to grapple. I took him down, past his guard, and on top. Second round comes out. Same thing, doesn't have good striking, I'd say. He tries to grab. I take down. He throws up a triangle. And I'm in this triangle. Got my arm wide to block from getting choked. He just hit me from the bottom. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll just sit here and let you hit me. For the whole damn round. I was just so much out of it that I literally just sat here in this triangle and just bam, 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 bam. And I'm just sitting here just okay, whatever. You know, you're not gonna finish me like this. But I'm sitting here taking these shots on the bottom, and in reality, all I had to do was turn the corner. But
Yeah.
in reality, in the thing, you know, sometimes in training, when you really don't want to be there, you're just like, okay, whatever, man, just take my back. It was kind of that mode. And so that's that round. Then the next round, I'm like, okay, I gotta pull this together. I don't want to be here. I gotta pull this together, keep it standing. But okay, doing good. Maybe shot, whatever. He gets me with a takedown. You know, I'm on the bottom. Then towards the end of the round, I sweep him at the very end, and the bell rings. Lose the fight. You know, didn't want to be there in the first place. I feel like a Diaz brother. I didn't want to be there in the first
won't
place.
be there.
Didn't want to be there in
You're
the
sitting
first
in the
place.
cage like
Yeah.
laying there. Posing.
But anyway, yeah, I didn't. So at that point, I remember my niece was there, and I'm just like, man, this is so over. Like, what am I gonna do now? Like, there's no shot at making this happen because that was all I had at the point anyway. That's all. If I was gonna make something, I didn't have another sense of hope. I didn't go to college. I didn't barely made it out of high school at the time. Like, you know, all this stuff, and that was kind of at the moment that was the only hope I had. I felt. So my I remember and you know what, my niece comes up to me in the locker room, and I just remember thinking like, oh, I'm gonna have to fight like another 4 fights and win another fight straight forward before I can do this. And then she's dealing with this situation. I remember she came up to me, and I just started crying and all. And then I got told by somebody, and you know, I don't like calling people out and all,
No.
but whatever. I get told by Ron afterwards, like, I don't know why you're so emotional. I got knocked out in front of my wife. You know, you had to you haven't dealt with anything. I'm like, okay, well, you got knocked out, but you know, your parents helped you open a gym and you're well off and everything. I'm like sleeping on couches and you know, getting told to hang myself daily, by where I'm living. Like, oh, you're better off dead and having to have my niece deal with it. It's like, who cares? It's not. I don't care. The reason why I'm emotional, or the reason why don't feel well in this moment isn't because of a loss, but it's because, you know, yeah, I have no hope in helping somebody I care about, and the only hope I have, even though it sounds silly to everybody that's watching and all, but when you only have 1 ounce of hope, and this is the only way you can make something happen, and that's like, okay, it's not going to happen now. Now you're like, okay, who cares about me at this point? You know, now my 14-year-old niece has to deal with alcoholics, has to deal with people that are on drugs, has to deal with people that are going to talk to her badly, and I don't want to do that. I don't want her to deal with that, and to be told that, oh, suck it up. You know, I got knocked out in front of my wife. I'm like, it's such a different thing. Well, did your wife have to because you got knocked out? Did she have to live in a sketchy house because of that? No. You can knock me out, whatever, but I don't want my niece to live in that situation. So that was that. So anyway, before that, Josh Savage, shout out to Josh, had approached me and had said that you know, you should come do some real estate stuff with me. And we had tried some stuff in the past and didn't really work out. One of our other ventures, and he was the same way, man. He was sleeping on an air mattress, could barely feed his kid, and he made it happen and all. But he had hit me up, and he's like, man, you can come over here and do this stuff. And you know, that's when I started, and it was another struggle. You know, I had time. You know, I got into that and got told that I was bouncing around and doing all this different stuff, in the sense, you know, from the feedback I was getting, like, oh, you try to do all this stuff and you never finish anything. I'm like, yeah, well, I have no money, I have no resources. Any opportunity that you give me, I've tried everything that is presented to me, and just try to make it work, you know, and it hasn't worked. Like, yeah, I guess in hindsight, I could have went and, you know, worked a job and done the 9 to 5 thing and all, but it just kind of just isn't something that was in my soul there. It was like, I'm gonna make something happen. So, you know, it was hard to get going with real estate. There was points where I was counting change and eating like off the dollar menu, and if that, like once a day, or trying to eat like back to eating rotisserie chicken again, and white rice. Just once a day, if that, and if I have enough money to get a rotisserie chicken that week, and running out, and then maybe just eating white rice from the thing, and maybe have a little bit of hot sauce, putting it in there, if I'm eating anything, to selling a house and being able to eat consistently. But that's the story, the long story. Yeah.
It's a long story.
Yeah.
Man.
And I mean, and you think about it on the other side, like I'm sure, like when I wasn't eating and all, I know I could have called you and be like, "Hey man, I'm not eating. I don't have money to eat." I'm sure you're
that's
help
a
me out.
conversation call you don't want to.
You don't want to make.
No,
You have too much pride to do that.
Yeah.
Like I could have went and I could have gotten assistance. I could have gotten food stamps. I could have gotten this. I could have gotten that. But sometimes, at the same time, I'm like, well, I did put myself in this position, so I have to handle it. I'm not saying that somebody out there, if you're watching this, whatever's available to you, ask that person for help. But for me, where I was at in my mindset, sometimes when you're in the moment, that's where you're at.
Yeah. Well, and again, you could have asked, but
yeah,
it's cool you didn't.
But and then I guess in the sense of when you get told that you're worthless by so many people, you don't want to ask, because even though we have a good relationship, a lot of the people call you worthless are people that you're supposed to have a good relationship anyway with, and you, I guess maybe you don't want that the relationship that's good to turn into that. So
you're worried about that becoming the
same
norm
way
for somebody else,
because
it's completely understandable. Yeah. But yeah. Then after you started real estate, though,
I lived with Eric for a little while. Yeah, that was fun.
I was living in a little townhouse with a coworker of mine, friend, great person. Hey Cody, what's up? And I was talking to her. You just kind of started coming over like every Friday night. It would be like I'd get off work.
Because I believe I was living with my father then, and it wasn't the best situation then either.
Yeah, well,
so
also it was like one of those things where like you'd call me and I'd be like, oh yeah, I got home from work. You're like, cool, I turned in your development. You'd pull up.
I mean, yeah, because
and I started parking in like the visitor spot, so you could take my spot, so you'd have a spot.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to park because where I lived there was like four. There's like four, like visitor spots, and then like there's a little space where you could park around the cul-de-sac that we lived in. But if you didn't get any of those spots, you had to park like down the street, and like walk like 3 blocks.
Yeah.
You needed to park, and like you didn't know what was going on with your car because it was just so far away from your house.
Yeah.
So I'd pull up and like take the visitor spot. So then we had an extra spot for the night or the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah, we lived together. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Had a little blow up mattress still.
Yeah. You pulled up with a blow up mattress, and I was like, "Do you want? We try to get you a real one." You were like, "Nah, I like this." I was like, "Okay."
I like my blow up mattress. I had my blow up mattress until
there's also that like period of time before you moved in where you just kind of came over every Friday night, and we would just be doing stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Like the one night where we talked about this, the Hello Max, singing about Max in front of my door for literally 2 hours.
Yeah, it was fun. But I mean, I was so used to the blow up mattress, I wasn't going to get a mattress because in my head at that point, I was like, I don't know how long I'm going to be here. Yeah, because at that point, I think I had lived 7 different places in 14 months or something like that. So I remember at one point I realized I averaged a living place for 2 months on average before I moved. So it was like, oh, you're here, and then this person kicks you out of their house and all. And this was even, getting started with real estate and everything, and starting to like try and make money and all. And I remember, I distinctly remember I took a trip and I went to New Orleans when I lived with you, and I came back and you were like, oh man, we didn't know what to do when you weren't here, and we missed you. And I was like, huh? And it was so impactful to hear that somebody missed me at that point in my life. And I was just like, I didn't know how to receive it because I was kind of like pushed around, like I said, so much, like 7 different places in 14 months, to average of 2 months a living situation, to where it's like it's better for me to have minimal possessions that I can put in a trash bag if you kick me out and because you drank too much or whatever the case may be, and I can deflate my mattress and throw it over my shoulder and I can go find a new place to live. So yeah, that I remember that was impactful, but it was kind of just up from there.
Yeah, because you were texting me while you were there. What? You met a rapper when you were in New Orleans, right? Didn't you meet? You did.
In New
Or was that another trip you took? Because I remember you took. I think you took 2 trips, but I swear you met a rapper the one time.
I met
can
a
see his
rap.
face. He has like he's black guy with the red.
Oh, you're talking about Lil Yachty.
Lil Yachty.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I met Lil Yachty in Houston.
Oh, you went to
because I
Houston?
took 2.
You took 2
No, I
trips.
did take 2 that time. I went from New Orleans and I took a Greyhound bus. In my fashion. I'm bougie now. We don't do that stuff no more.
We ain't on that Greyhound no more.
Nah, man. I
What would your girl say if you were like, yeah, we're gonna go fly into New Orleans, stay there for a couple days, then take the Greyhound, 7 hours, or whatever it is.
She'd ask me if I was on drugs. It was cool. It was definitely a waste of a day in hindsight in a certain bit, but I had a good conversation with the guy that sat next to me, and that sometimes that's the best thing. That a whole journey, you don't know what's gonna happen, and you just kind of talk to whoever and all. And I remember
Sometimes you learn the coolest stuff in your life from just strangers.
the guy
Sitting on a bus, or
the
like
guy I
you're in
was talking to.
the line at a store, and you talk to the guy next to you, and like you find out this person.
The guy I
does
was
such cool
talking to
stuff.
on the 7-hour Greyhound bus ride, he was a volunteer, a disaster relief volunteer, not with FEMA, with a different one, because FEMA, like, there's some messed up stuff with them, and they've taken land and stuff like that. So he's with one of the ones that doesn't mess with anybody. Because he was telling me about that, how it's like some people if you're with FEMA, we're gonna shoot you. Get off of our, people.
Dude, I've heard about some people like they've like just people in the area when like during like hurricane the one that happened in New Jersey that like right after I moved away. Shoot, Hurricane Sandy. After that, with like the relief, there was like people who like just lived in Pennsylvania and like went and like talked to their school and like got like a bunch of stuff together and talked to their church, got a bunch of stuff together and jumped in a truck, threw all the stuff in the bed of the truck, and just drove to New Jersey and started like handing out water, handing out food, handing out sandwiches. They got like the FEMA people came like freaked out on them.
Yeah.
And like
Why?
because it didn't go through them.
Exactly.
They're like, dude, they're like threatening. Like we felt like we were in danger when all we did was like we spent like $200 on water, brought bottles of water for everybody.
Exactly.
We spent $150 that we were given on food.
It's
Brought
crazy.
food for everyone. Like we'll just give, and then like we weren't asking for money. We were nothing. We just did it because we wanted to, and we wanted to go out there and help people. And they were literally just out of the bed of their truck. Just the one guy was driving. The other 2 guys were like handing out water bottles, handing out food. Like they're just like driving the road, just handing out shit to people. Like they're like, if you want anything, come take it. And they made like goodie bags. Like the one time you did the goodie bag thing. The one time.
Yeah, I did that one time. But anyway,
Hold on, that was funny. It was like I had like the worst day at work, just a horrible day of my old job that I hated, and I come home and Eddie's in the middle of the living room, and there's just stuff everywhere, and he has bags and like there's like deodorant all over the room, and he's like, I can't find my deodorants. I'm like, Eddie, they're everywhere in the room. Remember I walked in, I don't know why I remember this so vividly. You're sitting on the floor in the living room, you just have like a ton of bags in front of you, and then you're yelling about deodorant, and I'm like, Eddie, they're everywhere. And like they're just like all over the room. I don't know what you did when you opened up that package of like deodorants, but they were just all over the place. And I started like throwing deodorants at you. And I was like, what are you doing? You're like, I'm making bags for people. I was like, okay.
yeah,
It was like a random Wednesday
bags
night.
for the homeless, man.
Yeah, it was like a random Wednesday night. You were just like, yeah, I'm making bags for the homeless.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. But anyway, I was talking to this guy, and he did whatever the one that was not FEMA. He did that, and he had guitar. He had this guitar with him. And he's like sitting there like strumming on his guitar and all. And he actually, you would think that he's just a bum, looks homeless and everything else, but apparently he owns like the largest or second largest pot farm in Arizona or some stuff. So he's just this pot farmer, and his brother runs it, and he just goes around to wherever is disaster relief is needed, And because he has his guitars, they don't let him on airplanes because you can't. He takes like 3 guitars or whatever with him.
Oh
He's
yeah,
like
no, they're not gonna let you on it.
I guess you have to pay extra.
Dude,
So
no,
instead, he just
definitely.
rides the Greyhound bus all around. He was headed to. I was going to Houston. I think he was going to somewhere in California or Oregon or something like that. But he'd just ride all around. I mean, he's independently wealthy from his pot farm, and he would just get and ride. So I sat there, and you can imagine having that guy. I don't even know.
So many cool stuff.
I
So
don't
much
think
cool
the
stuff.
guy even has social media, or he probably didn't even have a damn cell phone. He probably still used the.
He had a compass. It's like
Probably. I mean, stores at Peace and all that too, but yeah, he'd be a great guest for us. But yeah, that was a good conversation. But you wouldn't get that on Southwest.
you never know, man. You never know who's gonna be on Southwest either.
But yeah, I mean,
you
most
won't,
time
you won't meet a guy like that.
I don't
probably
even
on
talk.
Southwest.
Nobody really even talks.
No,
to
I
each
feel
other.
like you all just put your headphones in,
Yep.
or you get the little TV and you get to watch the little TV.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you're lucky if you don't have someone freaking out your flight. I feel like every video I see on like Facebook is like somebody having a meltdown on a flight about something.
Yeah. I had one. Some guy got kicked off the plane because he wouldn't put his blind down. I'm like, you're gonna get kicked off the plane and get banned from.
For not putting your wait, why do you have to have the blind down though?
They want it down when they take off or when they go. They want them up and down. Whatever the point. He didn't want to touch it.
That's weird.
And he got kicked off the whole plane. He must have really not wanted to go where he was going. He's like, you know what? I'm not putting it down.
Now I don't have to go see you, Karen.
He's like, yeah.
Like, wait, if I just leave my blind up,
Mom.
I don't have to see my mother-in-law.
They kicked me off of the plane. I don't know what happened. The guy
crazy,
was
dude.
just
Wild.
didn't like me. I must have looked like his childhood bully. They kicked me off the plane. I don't know what happened.
Yep. But talking about traveling, we went together on my favorite trip that I've ever gone on.
Where, to Boston?
Yeah, I loved that trip.
That was a good trip. That was a good trip. I wish it would have been a little bit longer.
I wish we decided to stay longer.
Yeah.
I wish we stayed like 2 or 3 days there.
Well, we were in a stolen vehicle.
No, we had a letter. He signed it. So
I told my girlfriend about this the other day, and she's like,
I told my mother about that like a year ago, and she was like, wait, you guys drove in someone's car who didn't go with you? I'm like, yeah. And she goes, are you stupid? You had a car. I was like, yeah, I don't know why we just didn't just take mine.
we probably didn't trust it.
Mine wasn't.
What car did you have at that point? You
I had the Honda.
Honda?
Yeah.
And the Honda started to get janky at the end. You had a
Well,
nice
at
style
the end,
car
but
for a
that was
while.
also like, the end was like 4 years later. Probably like 3 years later. Towards the end, yeah, no, it got real janky towards the end. Like the bumper was held together by duct tape.
I remember it towards
It didn't
the
have
end.
AC. Yeah.
I was surprised, man.
got-
I was just like,
it got beat up.
this looks like something that I would own. Didn't expect it coming from Mr. New Jersey boy.
No, but man, we plan to go see the fight card in Boston. We were all like super hyped about it. It was gonna be me, you, Will, and Draco. Draco said he'll drive because he had the newest car and he had the nicest car. Comes the day we're gonna go, we all meet up at Draco's house, and then Draco's like, "Yeah, I'm not going." But he let us take his car, and then for proof that it wasn't stolen, he wrote a note, handwritten note, and signed the bottom of it on like a blank piece of like printer paper.
These fellows may take my car.
I think it might have said that. I don't remember what he wrote. But we all just looked and went, okay, cool. Yeah, cool. And just went with it. And then we left, because we went to, from there we went to your mom's,
House.
your stepdad's place. The guy who faked cancer.
No, it was her house.
Oh, it was
He
her
didn't
house,
buy
sorry.
it.
Oh, well,
He didn't buy nothing.
I wasn't supposed to know. So your mom's house with the guy who faked cancer. And we hung out there until like the middle of the night. And then we left at like midnight. And we drove all the way up there. Do you remember the car crash? Were you awake for the car crash?
Oh yeah, the car was like in the trees.
Dude, that car, we were driving.
was
We're
in
driving down the highway,
Connecticut,
mind you.
I think.
I'm driving. I'm going
Connecticut, where you like drive and it's like
the road was like empty. There was no cars for miles. We were just driving. I was probably going like 88, 90.
didn't somebody
like 90
fly
miles an hour.
past us before that?
It was that car.
Oh, really?
That was in the trees. Yes, that's why I was crazy. So this like nice looking sports car flies past us. Like I'm going like 90 miles an hour. Goes flying past us. Probably like, what do you think, 10 minutes down the road?
Yeah, something like
we
that.
see like all these car parts on the side of the road. We're like, yo, what the hell happened? And then we look over and there's a car in a tree. Like,
Yeah.
it must have rolled and, like, flew up and got caught in the tree somehow. And so I'm like, Will, call the police. So we call them.
No, they were already there.
Were there?
They were already there.
Okay.
I think.
I don't know. I remember I was telling Will to call something. Because Will was like, where are we? We're like, we don't know. Because we did not know anything on the highway. So we were just following the GPS.
So you're telling me now that some guy was off
might
the
have.
road into a tree and we're just like,
Or
oh, let's keep driving.
There might have been someone there, but I feel like we
I'm
still
pretty
called.
sure they were there.
But I remember still calling about it, though.
Okay, I don't remember us calling at all, but okay.
You were also in the back seat, like, cool, guys.
I did my breathing. Remember the breathing technique I had?
you're like, I gotta stay awake.
No, it was to go to sleep. There was like this thing like where you hold your breath. I was like, whatever it was. You got to hold your breath for a certain amount, and then
Our deal before we left was no one was allowed to sleep while we were driving. And then you were like, dude, I want to go to sleep. Like 20 minutes in the
I don't think
drive.
it was a there was no deal. There was no. Such
There was.
deal,
We talked about
folks.
it. Me and Will stayed up the whole time.
There was no such.
But we got to
deal.
Boston at like 5 a.m.
Yeah, and remember the Walmart?
Yeah, the Walmart. Yeah, that weird Walmart we went to.
No, we were supposed to go to the Walmart, and we went there. It was not a Walmart. We were like,
No.
it was
It was
the ghetto
an
of
empty
Boston.
parking lot.
We're like,
It was like an empty parking lot. It was like, here's Walmart. And we're like, this is not Walmart.
yeah, because we were there super early, and we're like, I was like,
We
well,
stopped at that one diner.
was that before or after my van trip? That was before. That was before, definitely before. That was definitely before.
Okay.
But I already had my van knowledge, I guess. I had certain that I was because it was so early and we didn't know what to do, and I was like, go to Walmart. Walmart's 24/7, so we can go to Walmart, and
Just stand there in the aisle. No, but we ended up going to that one diner.
somewhere that's open is better than somewhere
Somewhere
that's
that's closed,
not.
yeah.
I mean, if it's open,
Well, then we decided
There's
at the end
some
of the whole
type of-
drive that we're going to stop, go to the parking lot of the hotel, and we'll just sleep in the car if we're not allowed to check in.
yeah.
And then luckily we got to check in.
And you guys pranked me.
Yeah, we walked in. Will looked at me and goes, I can't remember if it was me or Will decided this. Like, we're just going to go tell you that he has to pay for it. Let's just go get in the car. Like, we'll just tell you he has to pay for it. And when he walks in all pissed off, we'll walk right in the elevator. I said, perfect. And the other one, there was no argument, no like questioning about it. We were just like, yes. And just went. And
You woke me up.
You don't like being woken up.
I don't.
But I guess not. Or that day you weren't. That morning you were not happy with us. And then we told you what was happening. You're like, and to start walking in, and then we just turned to the elevator. Like, what are you doing? We're like, we're going to the room. Get in here. And you're like, okay.
No, I took my card out and I walked up and I slapped it on the desk and I was like, here you go. And the guy's like looking at me. I'm like, what? And you're like,
we were already like getting in the elevator.
yeah.
That was, and then we watched the whole card, and
We went to the mall over there and
went to
ate
the
some
mall.
pizza.
yeah,
And we were just dead tired the whole day.
well, that's because we were almost up for 24 hours the day before
Yeah.
to get there, and the card was on a Sunday.
Yeah, it was a weird
We drove up on a Saturday night.
Dennis Seaver versus
Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor.
I had the poster still in my living room.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was a fun time.
It
But
was a fun time. We should do it again.
we should.
Will.
Yeah, well, if we ever see him.
Willie.
Remember little Willie?
Willie wasn't there.
Shit. Don't start this again. But remember,
We're gonna call Will afterwards on your phone because he probably doesn't answer my calls on purpose.
Well, it's understandable. You're you.
The guy,
Just kidding. You
Good
David
guy.
Will. I love Will.
yeah,
I think he's always doing his own thing.
he's not.
If he wants to hang out, he'll hit us up. That's why I always
Will.
say.
He probably watches
Honestly,
every episode. and
Will,
doesn't-
I would love for you to come on the podcast though, because
I would
you'd be
love
fun
that.
to talk to on here,
Will, please,
or just see you in general.
please, Will, just to see you before you die, like of old age,
Just, Will, don't die.
of old age.
Live by the sword, Will. Live by the sword.
Will could have been a great
Will can be good at whatever he wants to do.
whatever he wants to do.
He's like freakishly smart
Our friend
and like
Will,
freakishly strong.
and he'll disappear. He's very smart, and will disappear for months on end.
Months.
Just off the grid. No social media.
no contact.
No nothing.
We've
Try to
showed
call
up at
him.
his house before
Yes,
because you figured out where his house was. I never knew how you knew where his house was that day.
because one of the days I took him home or something. I
Okay.
think. But anyway, I want to know what Will actually does for a living because he would disappear. I think that
CIA?
there's many CIA or something. He's an operative.
Dude, is
He's
he
out there killing
Jason
people.
Bourne?
I think he is.
It's
the
Jason
actual
Bourne. Man, if I was friends with Matt Damon, I'd be pretty hyped.
He's built like a damn
He is one of the most
orangutan.
built, strong men you will ever meet.
He can jump and hit
Freakishly
his
strong.
head on the ceiling.
He's freakishly strong.
Boom. He could have played. I don't know.
Division I football easily.
He's not the biggest guy, but
Like
he could have
freakishly
been a
strong and
running
athletic.
back or something. Maybe
Yeah.
he could have been like the
Exactly.
Who's that one white running back? Because there's like only one of them that played for the Panthers.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Christian
I don't know football that way.
McAllister. I don't know.
Chris McAllister's a person, I think.
There was like one
don't know
white
football.
running back in the past 20 years.
In the comments, tell us who's the one
Yeah,
white running
that
back.
could have been
Just-
Will. That could have been Will.
Well, no,
Will could have been like,
Will's a
I'm the
freak
number one.
athlete.
I'm the number one.
Yeah, he's freakishly strong and like athletic.
But he could have been. I could have seen Will fighting and making it to
A high level.
a high level just because he picked things up very fast too.
Yeah, he was very coordinated.
And very coordinated, very smart, very strong, very explosive. He had a lot of different things
Yeah, he had a lot
going.
of things going for him.
But the guy wouldn't stay in the gym at all. But he was one of the guys who will just come in the gym and beat up
It was like
whoever
he was there every
training.
day. Yeah.
Yeah.
People would be like, "Who's this new guy?" And then he'd beat the mess out of him. And you'd be like, "Oh no, Will's been here forever. Don't take it easy on Will."
Yeah.
And we were like, "Will needs to take it easy on you." And this guy would be like, "What?
Yeah.
No, I've been training here for like 3 months." I'm like, "Yeah, Will's been training here for years, and he's like a freak. Don't just protect yourself. Don't let him hurt you."
I didn't mean to hit you hard.
Remember
The one time, I remember the one time.
Remember we told who's hit us the hardest?
it was
Will hit me the hardest.
brutal ass punch.
Brutal ass punch.
I turned away from him one time and he boom
He,
hit
like,
the wall.
They were sparring and he turned to get away from Will. Will just punched him in the butt. And after the round, he's like, "Man, that was a good ass punch."
Man.
Yeah.
Will. But I remember one time there was a packed room, a bunch of guys were sparring, and Will knocked everybody out.
Yeah,
Like
we'll just-
it was probably 12 guys, and we didn't have a big sparring room. You know, it'd be like 5 guys to come to sparring. It was one time it was like 12. I was like, this is awesome, man. A lot of guys, you know, not big guys.
And Will was just
And Will, this guy, bam. I remember Dylan was in the locker room laying in the dark, and I think Steve came on the show, Hungry Steve. You know, I think he got taken out by Will. I think somebody else, like, he took out like 3 or 4 people.
Will
Just-
messed up a bunch of people. There's a couple
by
times.
the time I, you know, I go this guy and we'll take this guy out, and you know,
Towards the end, it was just you and Will.
By the 4th round, everybody was. I'm like,
Will was out there just taking names, just checking off his list.
and she's like, I didn't mean to hit him hard, man.
Dude, it's because he's Jason Bourne.
I don't know, man.
No, remember the day when were you there the day when we got yelled at for the guy getting the blood on his gloves years ago? We were sparring the one guy.
We told about the story
Well,
about this.
Did we tell him on here?
Yeah, I think
Oh.
we said it with
Steve.
Steve. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, we got yelled at for Will making someone's nose bleed.
Yeah.
But it was us as a collective getting yelled at.
Yeah.
Not Will, not us. Not the guy who was still sparring when he was bleeding or anything like that. Just all of us
Yeah,
as a
don't
collective.
bleed on my gloves that are made for punching people in the face. They need to look pretty.
Hey man, I bought myself some new gloves finally. My straps were coming off, like they're just beat up. I bought yellow Fairtex gloves. They're
Yeah.
ridiculous looking, but I love them. They're so comfortable.
Look like a big old bumblebee.
That's the goal. Glad you understand. Well, man, I'm out of topics. Got anything from me?
Have you told your favorite Eddie Dowd story?
Well, yeah, I told him about the time he.
Yeah, any others?
No, I actually do love the van story because I think it was just like the most wholesome thing we've ever done. Is just like chilling in a van in a parking lot eating chili out of cups. And then the night you pretend to be foreign was really fun.
Yep, we've talked about that on the show. I think that we pretty much covered.
I think we hit
it all.
everything. So
How have you been enjoying this experience of the Rhino and the Dude?
I'm having fun, and I think it's just something different, something
Yeah.
that I've never gotten a chance to try before, and I'm really enjoying it.
Something different, and we're
Yeah.
talking about expanding in other ways and making this thing happen. And we appreciate all the people that have subscribed and smashed that bell, and now maybe you know
comment.
me a little bit more deeper.
Please, in the comments too, tell us people you want us to talk to who we could try to get in contact with, or more topics for us to talk about. if you want us to deep dive into other topics that we might know something about, or maybe show us how dumb we are at something.
What do you mean?
Like, try to get us to talk about a topic that we have no idea anything about it.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that'd be cool.
Let's see.
Yeah. Well,
But don't forget. Also, this podcast has been brought to you by
the Podcast Lab. If you're looking to record a podcast, you can do it right here, right now in Towson, Maryland. Also brought to you by Eddie Dowd Real Estate. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, let the dude fight for you by calling 410-588-6536. Eric, don't I have a great radio voice?
You've perfected that.
Yeah.
That whole
It's like
plug.
that low
Yeah,
voice.
you are a
This is
3-pronged
brought to you by-
outlet because you are plugging.
This is brought to you by that water bottle right there. If you're looking to track your progress throughout the day and see how much water you have drank
With a straw.
with a straw, get that water bottle. This is also brought to you by Royal Farms Water. If you're looking for disgusting water that will give you E. coli poisoning, drink Royal Farms water. No, don't sue me, Royal Farms. It will not give you E. coli poisoning, but
It's not alkaline, so it doesn't matter.
it's not alkaline. I think that's it.
Yep.
So let me ask you,
Okay, hit me.
2024.
Oh,
Who are you going for, Kanye or Skeet?
I said this last week. I'm going with Kanye.
Kanye still.
Dude, he wrote
Graduation.
That's all.
I'm going Kanye too.
Yeah, I don't think we've really had anyone ever say Skeet. Did Steve say Skeet? That guy just looks like he needs more iron in his diet.
Yes.
Like, he's killing it in life. He's doing great. Just like
We have had a third party enter the race with Swayze. I'm going with Swayze.
Honestly, I think Swayze would. I would love to see look through a magnifying glass and see the world that Swayze would create. I
I'm
think
going
it would
with
be
Swayze.
so much fun.
I'm going with Swayze.
Yeah, man.
You gonna give Swayze your vote?
Yeah, no, Swayze. You got me, Swayze. You won me over. Okay.
I think that's it. That's all. Until next time, folks.
Thank you all for listening.
The Rhino and the Dude. See how that music comes back in?
Will.
This has been...
If you hear this, come hang out with us sometime.
Come hang out with us.
Stop doing spy missions and killing people and being an assassin. Just come hang out, okay?
Yep.
Peace.
See ya.